On Friday, July 19th, this is Bitcoin TV's channel. Where is Billion? I'm Michael greeting you from New York. Let's first look at the 24-hour data headlines in the crypto circle up to 12 p.m. today. Bitcoin fell by 1.3% within 24 hours, dropping below $64,000. So you can see that there was a slight shift in short-term chips, with the most noticeable changes being in the short-term trading of selling high and buying low. During the previous decline, 650,000 chips accumulated in the $56,000 to $57,000 range. The number of these bitcoins has decreased by 150,000, bringing it to 500,000. So the chips bought at the bottom in this range were clearly sold and exchanged after Bitcoin rebounded. Subsequent investors pushed up the current recognition cost of Bitcoin to the $60,000 to $61,000 range, reducing the number of Bitcoins by 40,000, now totaling 530,000. The market's holding cost has clearly increased, with the latest chips accumulating in the $63,000 to $64,000 range. 720,000 bitcoins. If the chips accumulated in a certain price range exceed 720,000, it indicates that a consensus on the holding cost will be formed in this range, at least in the short term. Short-term investors recognize the price level in this range and are optimistic about how long this rebound can last. Let's take a look at the funding rate of perpetual contracts to see the sentiment of short-term market investors, whether they are bullish or bearish. First, let's look at the trend over the past 6 months. The market's bullish sentiment has gone through 4 phases. After the fluctuations, the sentiment has gradually worn off. Although the funding rate has remained slightly positive over the past 2 months, it has been on a slight downward trend. Despite Bitcoin's recent price hitting an ultra low of $53,500, there hasn't been a strong bullish signal or trend in the funding rate. In fact, as Bitcoin's price rebounded, the funding rate continued to decline slightly. What does this indicate? It suggests that the market is actually optimistic about the short-term outlook. There is a bit of a lack of confidence and a fear of positive news. Initially, it was bearish, and the market continued to show a downward trend, so everyone is still being cautious. Now, let's take another look at the advanced Coinbase index. After entering the negative premium range, it showed a significant rebound, but overall, it is still hovering near the zero equilibrium line. Therefore, there is no clear bullish or bearish trend yet. Even after Bitcoin's rebound in the past 2 days, the Coinbase index still hasn't shown an upward trend towards the positive premium range, and it even experienced a slight drop yesterday. What does this indicate? It indicates that the market sentiment at this stage is very stable and is in a delicate balance, with everyone waiting for new positive news to materialize. Looking at the lagging Korean kimchi index, the Korean premium index is currently in a positive premium range, but the premium is at its lowest range in 6 months, so it seems that even the extremely abundant Korean investors are starting to calm down. Even if Bitcoin prices are rebounding, the Korean kimchi index does not show a continuous upward trend. It appears that the demand within the market is clearly insufficient and somewhat weak. Like us, and we will help you provide the latest news in the cryptocurrency world relevant to your wallet in 24 hours. Reviewing the Consumer Price Index, CPI, released by the United States last Thursday. The CPI shows that the overall inflation rate is declining monthly and is currently at 3%, still 1% away from the 2% target. Fed Chair Powell has often mentioned that inflation has eased and that long-term high rates could jeopardize economic growth in the United States. Therefore, investors generally expect that the Federal Reserve might officially start the cycle of interest rate cuts from September, and what is usually beneficial when interest rates are cut. Gold prices benefit the most because a weaker US dollar tends to push up the price of gold, which is priced in US dollars. Indeed, this is the case. Look, since the attempted assassination of Trump, there has been some panic-driven demand for safe haven assets globally. Gold prices have risen from $2,400 to $2,480 in a week, an increase of 6%. Now, with digital gold backing, will Bitcoin also follow suit and rise?
According to the estimates of JP Morgan Chase Research Department, 2024, by the end of the year, gold prices are expected to climb to $1, $2,500 USD, 2025. The year will come to ounce $2,600, the dollar, but its forecast assumes that the Fed 11, the rate cuts began in January. How is the performance of Bitcoin, which is known as digital gold? In fact, the trend of Bitcoin this year is very similar to that of gold, and it has risen sharply since the attack on Trump. 57K. The rise along the way, coupled with Trump's friendliness towards cryptocurrencies, also stimulated the trend of the currency price. Bitcoin was at 64,000. The US dollar fluctuated around the weekend and has risen by more than 10%.
So everyone, you see, we have specially prepared a Trump figurine today, right? Whoever supports our crypto assets, whoever supports my money, I will support them. This world is just that simple and straightforward, and it's so touching, isn't it? Now, what about Biden? Since the disastrous debate 3 weeks ago, calls for Biden to withdraw from the race have been continuously increasing. According to CNBC, donors are decreasing, and it is said that the donations can no longer meet Biden's needs for the next 3 months. So, although Biden emphasized after the debate that he would definitely run to the end, he has also hinted otherwise. If his health becomes an issue, he might consider withdrawing. Currently, Biden has tested positive for COVID-19 and has returned to his villa to rest, missing subsequent scheduled campaign activities. Many people close to Biden have revealed that the president's attitude towards stepping down has already changed. So it seems that Trump's chances of winning have increased a bit. To ensure that Trump doesn't change his stance too quickly after taking office, we need to elevate him now, making him a leader and a benchmark in the crypto space. This way, he would be less likely to make a 180-degree policy shift. All right, here's another piece of good news. This might be the kind of adrenaline everyone loves during a bull market. Do you know who the second oldest bank in the United States is? It's called State Street Bank. It might not have a lot of exposure in our program, but it is indeed one of the world's largest asset management companies, on par with BlackRock. State Street Bank manages $4 trillion USD in assets. What does $4 trillion USD mean? It means wealth that rivals nations. Today, some effective news has come out as State Street Bank is exploring the creation of its own stablecoin and deposit tokens. You should know that whether it's a stablecoin or a deposit token, these serve as intermediaries for traditional finance to enter Web3. You can think of it as the medium that converts traditional assets into crypto assets, allowing old money to flow onto the blockchain. Don't you think this is a huge positive for the crypto world?
According to Bloomberg, U.S. financial services and banking giant State Street is exploring ways to participate in blockchain payment settlements. The company is exploring the creation of its own stablecoin. According to an unnamed person familiar with the matter, the company is also considering creating its own deposit token, which will represent customer deposits on the blockchain because the work has not yet been made public. A spokesperson for State Street declined to comment. In addition, the company may use its investment in British payment startup Finality to create new settlement options and join the Digital Cash Alliance.
When I think of digital assets, so this is really, I heard some of the other presentations, my perspective here is more of a practitioner's perspective as it relates to finance. And really, when I think about the next 5 to 10 years, I can't think of any trend that's going to be more powerful to financial services than the digitization or the creation of digital assets in general.
State Street Bank, unlike BlackRock, is not as aggressive. It is considered a more traditional bank in the United States. So you see, even such an old and conservative institution has had to start paying attention to crypto assets, right? It's like saying, help me up, I can still make a comeback. So back in 2021, they established a digital assets research and development department. And recently, they signed a partnership fund with Galaxy Digital to launch a collaborative exchange project. And also, they are also targeting the Bitcoin stablecoin market. So as you can see, even an old horse can still gallop 1,000 miles. When they make a move, they strike right at the heart. Who was the main culprit when Bitcoin was hammered down to the $53,000 price level in the last round? The German government's sell-off played a significant role, right? So, should we thank them or hate them? You can share your opinion in the comment section. After all, without the German government's sell-off, how could we have bought Bitcoin at $54,000 or $53,000? So in a way, we should thank the German government, right? But during the sell-off, the German government kept quiet and sold in silence. After the sell-off was complete, they came out and explained.
Quite a lot going for it. And then 57K has been the key support level to watch. That has, of course, now been breached, obviously. And if it hangs here for too long, then 49K would become new support.
The German government said the sale process lasted about in 3.5 weeks. They sold nearly 50,000 bitcoins in total, earning about $2.64 billion. They also emphasized that the Bitcoin sell-off was completed through multiple batch transactions within 3.5 weeks, and each OTC. The transaction volume does not exceed the Bitcoin market volume 1%. The transaction size does not affect the price fluctuation. Chairman of MicroStrategy Michael Saylor. Recently, a statement was issued to the German government after the German government liquidated nearly $3 billion worth of Bitcoin and condemned Germany's sale of Bitcoin.
It has to be Michael Saylor, right? Only a true old OG and die-hard bull would dare to stand up at this moment and point at Germany, calling them out, right? The German government's recent sell-off was indeed not pretty. Based on their average selling price, it should be around $56,000. If it was an OTC, over-the-counter transaction, it might be even lower. So after everyone saw the sell-off, Bitcoin has now rebounded to as high as $66,000. With Bitcoin at over $2 billion, how much it can rise should make the German government regret their decision. As the saying goes, moving forward, the upward trend of Bitcoin remains certain. When it breaks through the previous high again, there will be all sorts of small players coming out to sell their coins. But even with such significant selling pressure from the German government, Bitcoin has held up. Are you still afraid of these small players? Let's take a look at Nigeria. Although Nigeria is a relatively unknown small country, we must pay attention to all its policies or strong stances on cryptocurrency. No matter how small it is, it has a vote in the United Nations and represents the voice of a sovereign nation. Recently, the Nigerian government has significantly strengthened its regulation of cryptocurrency, introducing a series of very strict measures. Not only did they block access to many major cryptocurrency exchanges, but they also mandated that all crypto businesses re-register their virtual assets within 30 days. The service providers, known as VASPs, must comply with this framework. The most notable event in this series of measures was the prolonged detention of 2 Binance executives. This incident, which erupted in February of this year, has been ongoing for 4 months and has garnered widespread attention within the industry. Nigeria's detention of an executive and multiple charges against Binance seem to be financially motivated. However, in the face of such a regulatory environment, other cryptocurrency companies have been scared away.
Cryptocurrency exchange OKX exists 7/17. In an email sent to Nigerian customers on the 28th, the company revealed that it would withdraw from Nigeria and stop providing services to all Nigerian customers. OKX said the main reason for stopping services in the country was recent changes in local laws and regulations, and set a deadline of August 16, 2024 for users to access the platform's features. After the deadline, Nigerian users can only access the platform to withdraw funds or close positions. In fact, as early as May this year, OKX suspended withdrawals of the Nigerian fiat currency, Naira, due to regulatory issues.
So, what is the main reason behind the Nigerian authorities' crackdown on cryptocurrency exchanges? Their fiat currency, the Naira, has depreciated by 70% in a year, making it the worst-performing fiat currency globally. Therefore, targeting these currencies has become a form of political correctness. The crackdown began in April with the appointment of the new head of Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. This shows how these officials perceive and define crypto assets and Bitcoin. This is closely related. For example, the director believes that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchanges have caused the depreciation of our fiat currency. Some officials in other countries think that cryptocurrency mining leads to capital outflow, and they believe that cryptocurrency is uncontrollable and causes capital flight, so they want to shut it all down. As you can see, cryptocurrency businesses in Nigeria have either fled or collapsed, and what was once a haven for cryptocurrency, Nigeria, is no longer flourishing. But will all the people of Nigeria still choose a fiat currency that depreciates by 70% in a year? Without these exchanges and institutions, People will still use cryptocurrency beneath the surface, and the naira will depreciate even faster. Yesterday, our one-year B camp raised $500,000 in just 3 hours, and it's already underway. We're telling everyone that our target return rate might be over 90%. Many people in the comments are saying that B camp is just a Ponzi scheme, a scam, which is both frustrating and amusing. I don't even bother to argue with them. Suddenly I understood why many people remain poor their whole lives. On the surface, it seems like they lack money, but in reality, they lack the following key points. Let me share them, and you can see if you agree. First, what you lack internally is courage. Essentially, you lack ambition, the ambition to make money. Third, you lack courage deep down, even if I tell you, you wouldn't dare to try. Fourth, you lack the brains, the ability to distinguish right from wrong, and the understanding of moral concepts. Fifth, you lack action when it comes to making changes. Sixth, you lack perseverance in your career. Seventh, the key issue is still within your mind. That's all for today's program. We hope you can become our member, where you can learn about all the membership benefits. We aim to guide everyone through this bull market, increasing our Bitcoin holdings. Let's be friends with time and gradually become wealthy. See you next Monday.